Many people eager to get out after 2 months of staying home. Dr. Richard Chaffoo is joining us now to rate some of the risk of these activities that you're looking at doing. Dr. Chaffoo, good morning.
Good morning, Shally. How are you?
I'm doing well. As we're planning the summer out, there are questions that you can ask yourself. You pretty much be able to determine what can I do by looking at certain factors in every single one of these activities. So what do we look at?
So there are basically four factors, Shally, that you'll look for. You'll look for time, space, person, and place. And by that I mean time, how long are you spending at an activity? Obviously, the longer you're at an activity, perhaps the higher the risk. The spacing, which is sort of intuitive. How close is that spacing between people? How many people are there in a gathering? Does it look like there's just a few people spread apart, or does it look a bit crowded? And then where is this activity occurring? Where is the place? Is it an indoor place versus outdoor? And that will also help to determine your risk factor.
Let's go through some examples, if we can, Dr. Chaffoo.
Of course.
What makes an event or an activity high risk? What are medium risks? And what are lower risk activities?
Sure, Shally.
High risk, let's start there.
Right. So high risk activities are unfortunately, like activities like religious ceremonies that all of us practice. Nightclubs are sort of at the other different ends of the spectrum. But the problems with those activities is they're enclosed indoor spaces where there's crowding, a lot of people, and there's a lot of talking or maybe singing or reciting. Those are all things that tend to spread the virus and put us all at higher risk.
So any activity that comes along your way that involves a lot of people in one place is
Yes.
high risk.
And a lot of singing, a lot of talk. Yeah, because that does all help to spread the virus. Physical contact, of course, that's another factor that does tend to help spread the virus as well.
Okay, let's go to maybe high to medium risk.
So high to medium. Sure. So these are some things that you might not think would put you at risk. Eating indoors, for example. Well, why would eating indoors be considered a high to medium risk? Well, that's, Shally, because it's difficult to wear a face mask or a shield when you're inside and eating. Also, people tend to linger more when they're in a restaurant, and there are some common items that tend to be on a table. For instance, a salt shaker, sometimes the silverware that's not been thrown away, and then things like if you get a haircut, you wouldn't think that would necessarily be an issue, but remember, perhaps your hairdresser has been exposed to many other people, perhaps somebody with that's been exposed to COVID-19. And then even an outdoor celebration, you might think that's, you're free and clear, but if there's more than 10 people in that situation, again, you're one of those four factors that's, is people. And the more people you have in the activity, the more likely you're going to get in contact with this virus.
Let's take the risk down a little bit more. People do want to get out. They do want to see
Sure.
their family and friends. So how can you do that and have low, medium risk?
So the medium low risk would be things like, if you had a backyard barbecue, and let's say that you invited, some close friends over from one other family, staying at a hotel, using a public restroom, which we may not necessarily think would be medium to low risk, certainly could be, and it's something that might be a way to sort of change our minds, get us a little bit out from being sheltered in all this long period of time that we've all been exposed to.
If you want to go totally safe, the safest option, what would be the least amount of risk that you can take this
Right.
coming
So the
summer?
least amount of risk would be things like, going camping, getting it in the great outdoors, getting away from it all, going to a family vacation home, maybe with another close family. Exercising outdoors. I see people all the time that are walking or running on the beach, spending a day at the beach or pool, getting in the ocean, getting in a pool. Again, that's a form of exercise. Maybe with one caveat. I took my kids, for example, yesterday down to the shores. I thought, oh, this is great. We'll be at the beach. This low risk. Well, there were all these people coming on and off from kayaks, and they were all, grouped together in a small there. So again, what you might think would be a low risk activity, again, because of one of these four factors, wasn't a low risk activity. A lot of people were crowded close together. So So something like going to a beach or a pool, I would recommend to people maybe doing it on the off times, not times where everybody else has the same idea.
So overall, I'm thinking the takeaway from everything that I've heard, Dr. Chaffoo, is if you can, all these activities, you're looking for ways to be able to have distance from others, distance
Yes.
from others, distance from
Yes,
others.
exactly, exactly. Reducing physical contact. Again, remembering to wear a face mask. I personally still think it's a good idea, as much as as possible, as practical. We want to reduce the risk of getting the virus, but as importantly, of spreading it to other people, those asymptomatic carriers. Just trying to be a good citizen.
Dr. Richard Chaffoo, thank you for the advice. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Shally.